G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. So today, while I'm waiting to save up some more money for bodyworks, I'm just going to be doing some small stuff here and there. So I'm going to start with stripping the front end that I'd pulled out. And I only found out afterwards that I've done this the wrong way. I really should have pulled the springs out before I pulled the front end out of the car, and would have made life a lot easier. But after doing a bit of research, there is ways around doing it somewhat safely. So the safest way I've got to do, I've got a threaded rod and a couple of heavy duty plates. So that way I can take that shock out from here and then put the threaded rod up in there to be able to sort of like do the nuts up and squash it in together to take away the pressure from the spring, so I can undo some of these bolts. A couple of guys did say to like put a bolt through the end of it so it comes up and then into here, but I don't have a welder and sort of wanted to get this done, so I think this way will be still as effective. I'm going to slide one of these plates like maybe in through here somehow, maybe down in there, and then that way I can just put the second plate on the bottom and squash it in. This ATV jack I've never actually owned an ATV. I've owned this jack for a few years though. Bought it from, I think, super cheap. I think it was on special for 150 bucks or something at one stage. But these are actually brilliant for like a few different purposes. I've actually used this a few times to pull gearboxes out of cars when I'm doing it on the ground. So if anyone's thinking about buying one, they do come in really handy for stuff like that as well. I've already taken off brake lines and stuff like that. They were all pretty deteriorated, so as you can see there. So I basically just cut them all off. All that's going to be replaced anyway. So the reason why I'm stripping the front end of this, I'm going to pull the steering rack off and I'll get that rebuilt. But I do have to make a couple of small modifications to this, mainly the control arms, so in that way give me a bit more clearance for the headers for the V8, and possibly the K-frame, but I don't think so. I think I might be able to get away with that. So once it's all pulled apart, stripped down, as I said, I'm going to get the rack rebuilt, and I'll also get it all the parts sandblasted and powder coated, so it's all nice and new as well. Cool. All right, so yeah, I'll get stuck into that and start pulling it apart. Alright, so my idea of having the plate in between the spring and compressing that way, figured out it's probably not going to work. So what I'm going to do is use the metal bit from the top bolt of the spring and get that welded on the end of the rod, and basically just do it how I've seen other people do it. There's obviously a reason for that, and when I sort of had a look at it and I was like, yeah, I can see why they've done that. That's going to be the way to go. So unfortunately I'm not going to get this all done today, but for the magic of YouTube, voila, here it is, done in this video. So I'm going to trim this bar. I've already marked it, trim it off to the correct length, and then I'll get someone just to weld this onto me, enemy bar for me, and then I'll continue on when I get a chance. Righty go. Safety first. Don't worry about me bloody shorts and stuff. Oh yeah, it's now trimmed to length, so whenever I get a chance I'll get that welded on and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. Oh yeah, so that rod will go up through the bottom here. We'll have that bit welded onto it, so that way when you push it all the way up here, goes through into there, and then that way I can have my plate on here and then the nut, and then that way just do all that up as tight as I can, so that way it compresses that whole area there. That way I'll be able to undo all this and then slowly release the pressure to get that spring out. Massive pain in the ass, but it is what it is. So to weld up this bar, decided to buy myself a little cheap gasless MIG of Marketplace. It's going to be very interesting because I haven't welded in about 17 years, so I don't even have any scrap steel to practice on, so I guess this will be my first time, so no one pull the piss out of my weld when you see how shit they are, but hopefully it still does the trick. Alright guys, so after a small hiccup with having gas wire in my gasless MIG, wondering why my welds were a lot worse than what I initially thought they were going to be, and my standards weren't that high to begin with. Ended up getting gasless MIG wire in and got it all welded up. It's still pretty much a dog's breakfast. Definitely need to practice and hone my welding skills because that is terrible, but hopefully it does the trick and holds on. Hopefully it's got enough penetration in there to do what I need to do. I might I'll put this bar in, I'll use a ratchet strap as well, just to added security, just in case this shitty weld does let go, which, you know, chances are quite high. Alright, so it looks like that both those castellated nuts come off quite easily. So that plate will be taking some of the weight there. I'll tighten it up just a little bit, make sure it's definitely got all that weight off before I start loosening it off. So far, all pretty straightforward, pretty good. So that was a lot safer than I was thinking. I was a bit worried there for a while, thinking that I may have cut my threaded rod a little bit too short, not giving me enough space on the rod to undo it all without taking too much tension off. But that seemed to work perfect, so that's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, we'll crack in and get the other side done. guys, that's the front end all stripped, good to go. I've left those control arms on, so at some point in the next couple of weeks I'll head down to see Pickles. He said he's going to show me exactly what needs to be modified to be able to get some clearance for the V8 headers and such. So it'll be good to go down and have a look at his LC, see how he's done a lot of things. I've put them back together just for reference, so that way it was still fresh in my mind exactly how they went back together, so I didn't have to look that up later. Eventually, like all the bushes and stuff, and well, basically every single part, once the K-frame and control arms have been modified, I'll pull it all apart, get it all sandblasted and powder coated, make it all look brand new. Same thing over here, so that steering rack will probably end up getting rebuilt. All those rods and brackets and stuff will get fixed. Those front shocks, they're trash, they're screwed, so I'll probably end up throwing them out or getting them rebuilt if I can't get brand new ones, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find new ones easily enough. Springs, don't know if I can use those. I don't think it's going to have V8 in there. I'll probably have to get a different spec front spring, so I'll have a look into that. Rebuild all those brakes there, they're HQ stud pattern brakes, so I'll get all those all tidied up, all those calipers and stuff rebuilt. And that tool there, definitely going to be keeping that. That was really handy to get those front springs out, so that'll be good to have. Rightio, well, thanks for watching another episode. Hopefully that one was a bit more interesting for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.